Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting national coaching forum on National High School Football or nationalhsfp.com. I'm your host, Larry Godwin, along with my counterpart, Joe Memone from Prep Gridiron Logistics. Tonight, our virtual tour takes us to Baton Rouge, Catholic High Bears, and head coach David Simoneaux down there in Baton Rouge. Coach, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, man. Excited to be on with you guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Joe, you got our first question. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
Sure. First, I want to thank Coach for joining us tonight. This interview is special for me. The state of Louisiana is special to me because when I first started this company 7 years ago, the first game I ever put together, two out-of-state teams coming together for a game, was for Don Bosco in New Jersey. They needed a team to play for their 100th anniversary doubleheader they were playing. And I got a team from Louisiana to agree to come up, Archbishop Remo from New Orleans. So the state of Louisiana was when we started this company 7 years ago, was right there at our infancy, and I'll always be grateful for Remo and Louisiana for that. Also excited because we have so many posters. If you go to our forum, nationalhighschoolfootball.com, we have so many great posters from the state of Louisiana. We got Red Zone, we got Real Cage, we got Chip Price, we got Cajun Hurricane. So I know they're going to be excited to see this later tonight. So
awesome.
That being said, let's hear about your 2022 squad. I know I wrote a name down earlier, a 5-star wide receiver, Shelton Sampson. But when we're watching you this year, and we're going to be watching you a lot through the streaming services. I know you're going to be hosting a great out-of-state team. We'll be talking about that later. Who should me and Larry and the fans watching be who are we going to notice really quickly on the field on both sides of the ball?
Man, that's a tough question. You know, we had a strong squad last year, obviously, and we're able to finish on top. And we graduated somewhere in the ballpark of 14 starters off of that team. 4 out of 5 in the back end on the defensive side of the football. A lot of those guys were 2- and 3-year starters, so a ton of experience. We graduated 3 strong defensive linemen. One of those signed with McNeese. One of them walked on at LSU. And the other one is a preferred walk-on at Southeastern. All 3 of those guys were great players. So defensive side of the football, I would say, is the one that took the toughest hit in terms of, just departures. We lost 2 1,000-yard rushers. One's going up to West Point, Corey Singleton. We lost Emory Jones going to LSU. So we're filling a lot of gaps, but really excited about the guys and the bullets that we got in the chamber and just the cohesion of this football team that we have. On the offensive side of the football, we returned Daniel Beal, who will be a third-year starter at quarterback. He started as a true freshman. I guess all freshmen in high school are true freshmen, but he started due to injury as a freshman and won the state championship for him. Really, had a great year for him. Probably started the second half of the season for him. That's before I was over there. And then Barry Remo will be a running back. He was kind of the understudy of the 2 seniors that both rushed, like I said, for 1,000 last year. Barry is a really special human being and a special player. Excited about him. He'll get the lion's share of the carries. Up front, Jacob Johnson will start at center for us. He's got a twin brother that's a nose guard. Both those guys are dynamite players. And we return a couple of other guys up front that we're really excited about. Cam Banks is a return starter at offensive guard. Daniel Harden out at wide receiver is a returning 3-year starter. Shelton Sampson, like you said, is a 3-year starter. Will be a really good player for us. Everybody knows his name. Now, on the defensive side of the football, like I said, we'll be young on the back end, but we got some talented guys coming back. On the defensive line, Judd Rouillet is a guy that really sticks out for us. Played a lot of snaps last year. Wasn't an every down player, but going to be a really good hand. Josh Johnson is Jacob's brother. He'll be at the nose guard spot and is just a dynamite, strong force, 6'1", 305 pounds, high motor, and a guy that, was an every down player for us last year. So those are kind of some of the guys that jump out at you this year.
Great. Holy moly, Coach! All I heard was so-and-so 3-year starter. So you got a lot of 3-year starters coming
Yeah.
back. So no wonder you've been so successful. Listen, now, let me ask you a question about you taking over the program. You know, when I was going back and looking at your program, it looks like over the years, Catholic High has always been competitive. Then when Coach Gabe Fertitta took over, it seemed like he took it to another level. And then when you took over last year, it looks like it kind of kicked it into gear another level. What is your goal for this program? Well, what do you want to be known for?
Yeah. Man, that's just it's an awesome question. You know, I got to give a lot of credit. Coach Dale Weiner was the head coach here for at least 29 years, and did such an awesome job of just building a dynamite base of guys that just cared so much about the game and cared so much about what Catholic High football is all about. And you know, Gabe actually worked for Coach Weiner for 3 or 4 years as an offensive coordinator, and then had a previous stint as a position coach. And we all just, you know, feel like he's the guy that set the foundation for this thing. And then Gabe did such an awesome job of coming in here and, you know, just building really an elite program and elite staff. And last year, you know, we felt like, you know, we were able to come in and really reap the benefits of a lot of the things that Coach Weiner had put in place and Coach Fertitta, you know. So I'm just in a situation where I'm trying not to mess it up now.
I got you.
But no, man, you know, I'm about human beings and about building the elite relationships. And, you know, we have such an awesome staff. We did turn over a lot of staff members from Coach Fertitta's staff, you know, which was a blessing and a curse. It was tough to come in late in, you know, late March, and try and, you know, we had to fill eight staff members from that staff. But, you know, I was also able to get guys that I'd worked with before and knew what I was about and what the expectations were. So that was awesome. But man, I want our guys to be, you know, extremely tough and gutsy. And I want them to know that we care about them more as human beings than we do about football players. And we want our success on the field to be a byproduct of the things that we instill in the hearts and minds of these guys. And we always tell them, we say, you know, we want people to watch us play and just be inspired by the way that you guys play the game, the heart and the approach and the physicality and the intensity and the love that you have for one another. And we feel like if we can get those guys to be extremely close and the cohesion of our football team to be something that, you know, is at an elite level, then they're going to go out there and the wins are going to take care of themselves, you know. So, you know, on top of that, man, I hope that we're setting a great foundation for these guys to, you know, have a great personal relationship with Christ and to be, you know, something that carries them throughout the rest of their lives by, you know, hopefully the role models that we place in front of them and by, you know, what we put in front of them in terms of just building that relationship with their faith. And our administration does such an awesome job of setting the platform for us and equipping us with that. So we got a great thing going, man. And you know, a lot of that is a tribute to what our administration has done for us.
That's awesome. Hey, Coach, I was introduced to the program a couple of years ago. Coach Fertitta reached out to me. He really wanted to start playing some out-of-state games. And when I say out-of-state, not just bordering states like Texas or like, he really wanted to play. Joe, get me the best team you could find for me. And I did that, and we scheduled Good Counsel, who's a perennial power up in the Northeast in the Washington, D.C. area. Tell us the story, man. You guys went through a lot. Last year's game, I believe it was around Labor Day, maybe a little earlier. But as you were getting ready to leave to go to the airport, a huge hurricane hit your area, and a lot of us didn't know if the game was going to happen. Tell us from your side of the story those events that happened, and thankfully you were able to get there, and you balled out and played a great Good Counsel team.
Yeah, man, the hurricane hit on Sunday leading into the Friday game, and you know, it was complete devastation, specifically west of us, Lafayette, Lake Charles area. It's about an hour or 2 hours west of us, but you know, we came up on Monday to school and kind of met as an administration, and I'm gonna be honest, you know, I didn't think that we should go play, and We had no electricity at the school. None of our kids had electricity or air conditioning or anything like that. We were dodging trees to get to school, and it was a bad deal. And I didn't think it was right for us to get on a plane and to head that way. The airports were closed.
Mm-hmm.
You did not know whether you were going to be able to get on a plane in 2 days and head over there, 2 or 3 days and head over there. So we didn't practice that Monday. The administration, kind of felt like, hey, look, we had a extremely tremendous donor that donated the trip, and they basically said, look, if we can get on the plane, it might be good for these kids to get out of this situation and to go play and get into some air conditioning. And so Monday was no practice. The administration made the decision to go play. On Tuesday, we had probably about 65% attendance at practice. Wednesday, we finally get a decent practice with probably 85% attendance. The lights in the school were about half on. We're having to use hot spots to watch huddle and, to try and scout these guys. I mean, it was an absolute nightmare. I'm thinking we're going to go up there and get our brains beat in. But we got on the plane on Thursday morning and, went up there and kids pulled it together and just kind of, it was like a load off of their shoulders, and went out there on the field. I'll never forget, man, we got an awesome picture of Emory Jones, who was our 4-star or 5-star offensive tackle. He's got a picture. He's got the Louisiana flag on his shoulder, and he's walking our team out. And the sun's going down behind him in Maryland. And, man, it gives me chills thinking about it. And walked down on that field, and it was a brutal first half. I mean, it was just a fist fight, and those guys play so hard over there and are physical in the trenches. And we were able to pull away there towards the end of the football game. But it was really just an impressive win for us and a great notch on our belt, and a testament to the resiliency and the toughness of our kids, and what Louisiana football is all about, So it was a heck of an experience, man. And, we got to do DC tours and all that type of stuff and take a million great pictures. And, just some of the things that the kids got to see that they would never have been a part of had we decided not to take that trip. It was an awesome trip on so many different levels.
Well, you are a client now, man. I'm going to be able to do that for you wherever you want to go, whether it's
Awesome.
California to see the beaches, you want to go see the Declaration of Independence or the Liberty Bell in Philly or 9/11 fountain in New York City. We'll send you. We'll keep creating these memories for you as long as you keep balling out and showing the world what a great program you have. I mean, you're a desirable opponent for all the right and just reasons.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Coach, what an incredible story that was.
Yeah.
It really was. And Joe, by the way, if you want to create a memorable trip for him.
Oh, God, here it comes.
Right there. We would welcome the Catholic Bears to Lowndes County, Georgia. Coach, that was an incredible story. I want to take you back to when you were first hired in 2021. I found this quote. I kind of chuckled when I first read it, but I think I knew what you meant. I'm going to remind you what you said. You said, I quote, "I'm honored and humbled to be the next coach at the school." Simoneaux said after meeting with his CHSPC team to inform them of the decision. "I was a lot like Coach Orgeron when they offered him the job." Then you went on to say, it wasn't something I needed a lot of time to contemplate. I was ready to roll my windows down, turn the music up, and start rolling on over there. What in the world do you mean by that?
Man, Catholic High in Baton Rouge has just been the standard for so many years, and the process of the interview process was kind of one of the things where I was in a situation. I was working at a small school, and I was the athletic director. I was the head football coach. I was teaching classes, and my wife worked at the same school. And we had built this thing from a, kind of small little school that was struggling to something that we were extremely proud of. And it was hard to leave in terms of, the amount of pride I had in the product that we had built over there. But at the same time, I knew what type of doors this place would open. And I knew, that this was a destination type of place for me, you know. And I remember Coach Ogeron when he got the LSU job talking about driving in from Mandeville where he was living and, you know, rolling the windows down and turning the music up and saying, "Hey, let's go, man. I love this." So I was excited about it. And the further I got into the interview process, I knew that if I had the opportunity, it was something I wanted to be a part of.
I got you.
Hey, Coach, tell us more about the school. I know it opened in 1894. You know what it reminds me of? Another parochial school, Bishop Gorman in Nevada. Okay. They're basically the only game in town for parochial high schools, and they get a lot of the great athletes in the area want to go there for, you know, whether it's football related or just good academics, and to have a Christian parochial education. Is it, am I right? Are you the only act in town, if you will, in Baton Rouge, big time high school football? That's with a parochial on the parochial side.
Yeah, you know, so there is another 4A high school, private high school that's St. Michael's. There, another private Catholic high school. You know, but in terms of what we offer, you know, I feel like we're just extremely impressive. I mean, our school is a 6-time National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. It's the only school in the nation that has that distinction when it comes to academics. Spiritually, you know, I just think that our school does such an awesome job of emphasizing the spiritual aspect and the faith aspect. You know, and then athletics, you know, I think we won the baseball state championship last year, the tennis state championship. We won football. We won tennis. We won track. We won like 7 or 8 state championships last year. And again, you know, our principal is Lisa Harvey, and her administration does such an awesome job of, you know, making everything excellent. You know, our bowling team is awesome. Our Mu Alpha Theta Club is awesome. Our facilities are awesome. And, you know, the greatest thing that I've seen at this place is that, you know, athletics and academics they're not mutually exclusive. You know, as a matter of fact, they benefit one another, you know, and, you know, we hire great math teachers, and we hire great football coaches, and we hire great athletic trainers, and we hire, you know, our school does an awesome job of equipping people with the tools necessary to be successful and to pursue excellence. And, you know, I just couldn't be more proud to be a part of what we're doing. Our school is about the right things. The mission of the Brothers of the Sacred Heart, you know, is to equip people with the tools necessary to be successful and to pursue a faith-filled education, you know, and really proud of what our school is all about.
Coach, let me ask you a question that kind of extends Joe's question. When you said equipping kids, and you know, we've heard similar themes from other coaches before, but I got to ask you just to kind of expand on that thought. You know, when you were hired, your AD said this. He said, among his football and sports peers in Louisiana and across the South, Simoneaux was our guy. Coach Simoneaux is known for his incredible ability to get the most out of his players and fellow coaches. How do you do that? We're still talking about a bunch of teenagers. So how do you get the most out of teenagers, especially like the story you shared earlier with all the adversity that you face going into the Good Counsel game? You know, I'm sure you faced other adversity. How do you get the most out of teenagers and student athletes?
Yeah, man, I think that championship programs are built with championship men, you know, and our staff is second to none. Devon Dakota is our defensive coordinator. I've had the pleasure of coaching him at Parkview Baptist in Baton Rouge as I was probably 23 years old when he was a senior in high school. And he was one of these guys that I just fell in love with as a player, and then watched his college career. And then he was in the college game for 10 years or so, and as a coach. And I was able to land him as our defensive coordinator, and he just carries such a heavy task list, I guess, if you will, you know, and what we do. And he's a connector to kids. Our offensive coordinator, Zach Morris, is a guy that I coached his brothers at Central High School in Baton Rouge. And Zach's a guy that just does an awesome job of, again, connecting with our kids and asking them to bring their personal best each and every single day. We try and hire guys that are kids first and are role models and care more about kids than they do about players. And again, we hope that our success on the field is a byproduct of everything that we instill in these kids off the field and what we demand of them from an excellence standpoint. In terms of trying to get the most out of kids, I think it's all about my mentor, Coach Kenny Guillot, is a guy that taught me that you gotta be down in the trenches with those guys. You got to crawl in the foxhole with them, and they got to see that you're willing to do whatever it is that it takes to equip them with the tools to be successful. I'm at a point in my career where I could care less if another article is ever written about me or if anybody ever knows my name. I want to put these kids in the spotlight. I want to put these coaches in the spotlight because they're the ones that are doing the heavy lifting. And look, it's I'm not on this interview if we don't have kids that are here, with perfect attendance this summer. I'm thinking about a guy named Harold Lawson. He's our starting middle linebacker. He's going to be another one of those 3-year starters. And Harold's a 6'1", 210-pound kid that just goes in there and sticks his nose in the A-gap, loves his brothers, is a guy that just is going to get it done come hell or high water for our football team. And we try and glorify the guys that are great teammates like that, and we're never going to say, hey man, this kid is great because of his athletic ability. We want guys to understand that, the hunger and the desire that they show to be a selfless teammate and to be somebody that puts the Catholic high football brand in front of their own personal gain are the ones that are going to get the most love inside of our program, man. And I think that's part of the formula that's helped us maintain the success that Coach Weiner and Coach Petito have built around here.
That's great. Hey, Coach, question. You got a lot of really significant notable alums from the school, not just in football, but in every area of work. Let's talk about the football guys. So guys like Major Applewhite, Warwick Dunn. I'm a Florida State guy myself, so I know you're proud to have him as an alum. We are at FSU. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, Darius Geis. These guys support the program. Do they come around? Do you see them? Are they mentors to your players now?
Yeah, absolutely. Warwick did about a 5-minute talk to the team before the state championship game last year, and it was really cool. Our opponent had some guy do a cameo or something like that, and our advancement director was like, "Hey, we're gonna one up that for sure," And he's like, "I'll get Warwick on the phone," and so Warwick, sent us a video, and then when he comes in town, he tries to stop by and pour into the kids, and that's awesome. We got a guy named Marcus Thomas that played at Navy, who's now the director of player personnel at Navy, and he FaceTimed in or Skyped in for the team the other day and did an awesome talk about how winning is not easy, and he spent about 6 minutes just talking about what they do at the Naval Academy to separate themselves from the pack and the little things that matter and the consistency and all that type of stuff. And then Clyde Edwards-Hilaire was there the other day, came and trained with us and then gave a word to the team. And, the kids just, this guy's at the top of his game. And the kids are, look at him like he walks on water. And the coolest thing about his talk to me was, kind of his deal was high school football is the pinnacle, man. He's like, man, I've played for Super Bowls. I played for national championships. And he was like, man, I cannot remember a time that I enjoyed as much as being on this field wearing the black and orange with my brothers. For those kids to hear that, it's impressive. So that alumni base is awesome, man. And we got it going on in terms of that. Me and my wife are rehabbing a house right now and trying to get moved before two-a-days start next week. And we had a guy that was a class of 2000 graduate that is a good friend of mine in the coaching business, and he lives about 2 hours away, and he heard that we were kind of in a bind and trying to get it going. He was like, "Man, we got to get you moved in. I'll be there this weekend." So he spent a day and a half helping me lay floors. So we got it going on with alumni, man.
That's great. And I like to hear, I mean, you mentioned this alum who went to Navy. You mentioned when we first started the interview that you had a player from last year go to Army and West Point. So, you know, these schools are literally 40-year decisions, you know. A lot of these players are good enough to go anywhere, but those that choose those two places are special. And that's goes back on and what you're all saying about the school and your staff.
Absolutely, man. I mean, they equip our kids with the tools necessary to be successful. Our starting center last year didn't want to go play college football. He was a 6'2", 285-pound guy that was an all-district guy and a heck of a player. And he was a 36 on the ACT. And he's going to LSU Honors College for free. You know, just impressive National Merit Scholar finalist, which is extremely rare. You know, and it's great the education these guys get and the just the holistic approach that the school takes.
Coach, it sounds like to me that you love to load your plate up with challenges. So you like you're trying to build a nationally prominent team. You win in state championships. You're taking down teams like Good Counsel. You're renovating a house while you're trying to follow up on a state champ. What in the world, dude?
Yeah.
So I got a question for you though, along those lines. You know, I mentioned that you knocked out Good Counsel. You almost ran the table and went undefeated the rest of the way, but you did end up with a state champ. Now that you've, it seems like you've hit everybody's radar, right? You've got your program's got a bullseye. If I could use that term loosely, you got a bullseye on your back now. So your players coming back, they're 3-year stars or a good number of them. What do you tell those guys to, you know, their heads are probably this big. How do you get them down here and keep them grounded for a follow-up season?
Yeah. You know, one of our program standards is about living on the line, and I'll try and make this as brief as I possibly can. But there was a man named Bob Cade that used to come speak to the team. It started in the late '80s. Coach Weiner used to bring him in, and he talked about how his coach was an old school guy that didn't believe in any type of modern, you know, 630s and 420s and 315s. You know, he just believed in running hundreds. You know, and his deal was get on the line. And he said we'd run 100, and we'd get down to the end. About the time we got there, he'd say on the line, you know, and he'd make him turn around. And he'd run. Long story short, Bob Cade ended up having a bout with alcohol and addiction, and found himself in a rehab facility. And what pulled him out of it was what his coach had taught him about battling adversity, and how, you know, the men that quit easy when we were running those hundreds were the same guys that would quit inside of a football game, and they were the same guys that quit easy in life. And so, you know, he said he was standing in that rehab facility and he saw the white floor turn to green, and that white floor turned to the old grass, and he heard his coach's voice saying, "Son, it's time to buck up and get back on the line," you know. So for our kids, to me, you know, living on the line and fighting the challenges of daily life and bringing your personal best is something that, you know, we ask these kids to do, you know, and we don't try and measure ourselves against, you know, what other people's expectations are and all that type stuff. We try and measure ourselves about what your personal best is. And, you know, so keeping that in mind, you know, is something that we try and do every single day. And then, you know, our schedule is one of the toughest, I think, in the nation. You know, we play this year. Our district has changed. We play Woodlawn, who clipped us last year. They have a quarterback that just was absolutely phenomenal and has offers to basically every school in the nation. Zachary was the 5A state champion, which is the largest classification in the public school league there in our district. And, you know, like you said, we get everybody's best shot. And when we had our lone loss last year, everybody asked, you know, "Oh my gosh, man, what happened? You know, how did they beat y'all? I mean, how did that?" You know, I said, they're better at it than us at 19 of the 22 positions. If you line them up against us, those guys are you're going to pick them with the eye test every single time. So we have a brutal schedule, and everybody is shooting for us to knock us, off of the pedestal that these guys have built for themselves. And so for us, it's just chasing that personal best of living on the line each and every single day, and going out there understanding that people are trying to clip us, and we want to be the hunter, not the hunted. And sometimes when you win it and those type things, you are being hunted. But we want to keep that mentality of going out and trying to get after people by the way that we attack our work each and every single day and dominate in every assignment.
That's a great answer. Hey, Coach, I got a question for you. As you know, our theme at Prep Gridiron Logistics, we have 2 hashtags, play the best and anyone, anywhere. And you do that each and every year. Question for you, in addition to the out-of-state games that I'm going to be helping you out with, can you also during the regular season play the other parochials down in New Orleans? Are you able to do that, like a Rummel or Curtis or Brother Martin, or can you only play them in the playoffs?
No, we can schedule those guys, but really the issue's been our playoff bracket. I don't know how familiar y'all are with it, but basically they split us into a select division about a decade ago. Select schools, and then non-select, and what it boils down to mainly is private versus public. There are some public schools that play in the select division, but those guys are people that are able to get a certain percentage of their school population from outside of their normal attendance zone.
Okay.
So that being said, our playoff bracket was only like 16 teams, Now, those 16 teams were the Rummels, the John Curtises, the ones that were clipping off, state championship after state championship. St. Aug, who has, I think, more players in the NFL than, most high schools. So anyway, we're able to play those schools, but knowing that we were going to certainly meet those teams, the Brother Martins and those types, in the playoffs, it was just a deal that, nobody really wanted to schedule each other.
And did you find that playing a team like Good Counsel prepared you for those big-time opponents later on in the schedule during the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure y'all are familiar with West Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
We had West Monroe week 4 and had to go up there. And I think West Monroe was national champions in 2001.
They were twice. They have two. They have a share of 2 mythical national championships in their.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Good Counsel and West Monroe couldn't have mirrored each other more in terms of those guys. They were huge up front. They had skill all on the back end and just extremely well coached and good in all 3 phases. So we went up there and we were able to pull away from them 30-19, which was somewhat similar. I think Good Counsel was like 38-10. But the games breaks in both of those games. Some opportunities I think we created for ourselves. But that game in particular, just going on the road and all the adversity that we faced and stuff like that. None of the other games were easy, but in terms of what we had to overcome to get to that game, prepare for that game, and play well, I think it allowed everything else to kind of not be as intimidating, if you will.
Coach, I have to confess something to you. The first time I'd ever heard of West Monroe, Louisiana, was watching Duck Dynasty about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And then once they started talking about West Monroe, I looked into the city a little bit more, and then that's when I discovered they've got a pretty good high school football team.
Man,
so
it's as close to the stadiums that you see in Texas with the 15, 20,000 people every game and all that type of stuff. They have a beautiful facility and sky boxes, and they turn the lights off everywhere else in town. Everybody comes watch and play, So to go up there and to be able to get a win was huge, man. That game actually got lightning delayed. We were walking out for the coin toss, and lightning struck, and they ran us off the field, and we sat in the locker room till about 10:15. And
brutal.
it's a 4-hour drive up north for that game too. They're about as far north as you can get away from us, and so we kicked off that game about 10:45 and got back on the buses about one in the morning. So that was another crazy trip for us.
Ooh, man. Hey, listen, earlier you said that you had a kid that really didn't want to play college football, but you probably do have a lot of kids that do want to play college football. How have things like COVID, the college transfer portal, things like that affected recruiting of your players, or has it affected it at all?
Man, it's just a totally different world, man. You know, last year it was a year like none other from a recruiting standpoint, and I really wish that our parents and those kids of the class that we had last year really understood how few kids from high school were getting taken as compared to the years in the past. You had COVID holdovers that were still, holding spots on rosters. And then you had the transfer portal, So our defensive coordinator, Devon Dakota, was the recruiting coordinator at the University of Central Florida for Gus Malzahn. So, he had a pretty good bead on just kind of how much the game had changed. And, he kind of helped me quantify exactly just how different it was. And, guys would come in and he'd ask them, he'd say, Coach, how many high school kids are y'all actually taking this year? And there'd be some guys, at the 1AAs and stuff that would say, we're taking 5.
Wow.
And, so we actually had a slot receiver, Trey Benson, who's going to West Point, who I just thought was a mid-major Division I player every single day of the week. I mean, production off the charts for 3 years. He was a 5'9", 185-pounder that was a 4.5 at the Nike Combines and all that type stuff, and then had production against all these national teams and top-notch teams that, was just verified this guy was a dude, And it took forever for him to get 1AA offers and then finally pick up his West Point offer. So, man, it totally changed the game. And this transfer portal deal, as y'all know, has just kind of been the wild, wild west. And we were all trying to figure out as it went. And I think the college coaches were too, So, man, it was a game changer in every sense of the word.
All right, Coach, I think we're going to let you go now. You're running out of light there.
Yeah.
So, Larry, do you have any other questions, or you want let the coach get back to his family?
Yeah, I guess the last question I have for you, Coach, is kind of an abstract one. This might be the first time I've ever asked a question like this since we've been doing this.
Man, let me settle myself in this seat. All right, let's go.
Coach, if you were the opposing coach playing David Simoneaux's team, how would you prepare for him?
It's a good question, man. We pride ourselves on our toughness, our physicality, our conditioning. So to me, it's not a deal where, we had a Green Beret come out and train our guys this week and, take them through a special operations leadership course. And one of the things he said, is that, when he came out of selection, that, 90 guys start, 25 finish, and only 10 of them get selected. He said that, one of the best compliments he ever got paid was, you got to be hard. You're going to be hard to kill. And for our guys, certainly I don't want to equate football to war, but for our guys, we want resilient, tough, hard-nosed guys. And that's a process that I think takes 8 or 9 months to happen, when we start in January. And the guys that are playing for us, are mostly juniors and seniors that have been a part of that process for 24, 30, 36 months, 48 months. But it's a way of life, man, So what I would tell them is, start preparing for us from the time you get into high school. And, I don't want to say that braggadociously because we have so much respect for the guys that we play. And, like our guy from Navy said, winning is extremely hard. But, we hope that our kids earn the right to be successful by the way that they walk into the building every single day. So, for us, it's, we want to be extremely well coached, and have the X's and O's in a spot where the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But we really want to hang our hats on our physicality, our conditioning, and the way we come off the football on the offensive and the defensive line. And, so I don't know if that's a good answer, man, but, I hope our kids go out there and they play hard. I hope they know how much we love them and care for them. And I hope when they walk out on that football field, people say, what is it that they have inside of them that separates them from everybody else? Why do they play so hard? And the way that I would answer that question is they love each other and they care for these coaches and they care for one another so much that they don't want to let each other down. So they're going to put it out there and they're going to live on the line and they're going to fight for one another.
Coach, very impressed with your program. I'm really looking forward to see how well your team does this year, especially following up on how well you guys did last year. So thank you so much for taking the time, even losing daylight hours to join us tonight. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, like I said, man, I'm just I got two great predecessors and trying not to screw it up. And these kids have really worked hard. I love this team. It's a special group, man. So I look for them to go out and do some great things.
And Coach, we'll be watching Labor Day weekend when you host that Good Counsel team again. You graduated a lot, but he still has a lot of his team left because they were young last year. So I know it's going to be a really great matchup.
Thank you, man. But look, I appreciate y'all's time, man. Thanks for having us on here.
Thank you, Coach. Have a good night.
Take care.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care.